Today we are looking at the areas of two-dimensional figures. So we find the perimeter by adding up all of the sides of a shape. So it's the sum of the side lengths. Yes, I do expect you to add all the sides. For those of you who are going on some of these that you want to use a shortcut for finding this perimeter, I highly recommend not doing one of the shortcuts. They end up getting you confused and you find things that aren't your answer. So when you find the perimeter, add all the sides and make sure that you're actually dealing with the sides, not something that's dashed. The side is going to be a solid black line. Then to find the area of a figure, you take and you're finding the number of square units that don't overlap in your figure. So we've got formulas. Most of these are on the formula chart. However, the formula for rhombus and kite, if I'm not mistaken, only shows for a rhombus. So you'll have to remember that it is also for a kite. So the formula for area of a parallelogram is your base times your height. So your base is always going to have a right angle on it, or should, and your height should as well. Area for a rectangle, again, also base times height because it is a parallelogram. Your height and your base. Sometimes y'all will see it as length times width. Means the same thing. Area for a square, remember that all of your sides are the same. So it is your side length squared. So that's a cursive S. So your side length squared. So S times S, or your side length squared. Formula for area of a triangle, base times height divided by 2. So again, your base will have a right angle with it. Height should have a right angle with it as well. Formula for area of a trapezoid is base 1 plus base 2 times your height divided by 2. So notice that those 1s and 2s are subscripts. They're not multiplying by 1 or by 2. They're not squaring or raising to a power. So it's your bases. So this is one base, so base 2. This is another base, so base 1. And your height, again, has to have a right angle with it. Then we've got a rhombus. Rhombus, the formula for area is diagonal 1 times diagonal 2 over 2. Again, that 1 and that 2 by the d's. It's not multiplying, it's a subscript. Again, it's not an exponent either. So it just denotes which diagonal you're looking at. So please remember that in a rhombus and in a kite, your diagonals are not congruent. So please remember that these two lengths do not equal these two lengths. You will need to remember that a rhombus has all 3 sides congruent. A kite only has 2 sets of consecutive sides that are congruent. So please also note in these that we have right triangles. And remember that when we find a side length of a right triangle, we can use Pythagorean theorem. So that's a hint for one of your problems on the assignment today. You will need to use Pythagorean theorem. Our next examples, we want to find the perimeter and area of each figure. So on our first one, we have a parallelogram. And remember, a parallelogram has 4 sides, so we need to add up all 4 sides for the perimeter. So 6 plus 5 plus 6 plus 5. And that gets us 22 inches. Formula for area, we take the base times the height. So our base is 6 times our height, which is 4. So this 3 is extra information on this one. The 4 is our height, the 6 is the base. So 6 times 4 is 24 inches squared. Now, if you're typing that in on a computer, if it's in Google Forms, you won't be able to type a square that I've found without extra add-ons. So you will need to type in a caret symbol, which if you're on a standard laptop or computer is above the 6, and then your 2. Next up, we have a rectangle. And we need to find the perimeter of the rectangle. So 6 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4. And that gets us 20 inches. And then we need to find the area of the rectangle. Remember, is base times height. So 6 times 4, which is 24 inches squared. Again, if you're on a computer, 24, put your units, put your caret, and then 2. On C, we have a square. And remember that the length of all the sides of a square is congruent. So if 13 plus 13 plus 13 plus 13, which gets us 52 meters. And then for area of a square, remember it's our side length squared. So 13 squared. And 13 squared is 169 meters squared. Again, if you're typing it in on computer, 169 m, your caret symbol, 2. Our next example, we have a triangle, and we need 3 sides of the triangle. Remember, they're solid lines, so 13 plus 12 plus 17. And that's 42 centimeters for our perimeter. And the area, remember, is base times your height divided by 2. So 13 times 10 divided by 2. And we have 65 centimeters squared. Our next one, we have a trapezoid. And the perimeter of a trapezoid, 7 plus 11 plus 15 plus 8.06. Which is 41.06 meters. Then we need the area of a trapezoid. Remember, for a trapezoid, we have our 2 bases added together, multiplied by our height. And remember that your height always needs to have a right angle by it. So our 2 bases, 11 plus 15, times our height, which is 7, divided by 2. And that gets us 91 meters squared. Our next example, we have a kite. So again, or not a kite, we have a rhombus because our sides are congruent. So we have 8.6 plus 8.6 plus 8.6 plus 8.6. And that gets us 34.4 centimeters. And then we know AC is 14 and BD is 10. So those are our two diagonals. Remember the formula for area of a rhombus is diagonal 1 times diagonal 2 divided by 2. So 14 times 10 divided by 2 gets us 70 centimeters squared. And then we have a kite. So the perimeter of a kite, 8.38 plus 8.38 plus 4.72 plus 4.72. And we get 26.2 kilometers. And then the area for a kite, remember, is our diagonals multiplied and then divided by 2. So our two diagonals, 12 times 5 divided by 2. And that gets us 30 kilometers squared. Next up, we have a rectangle with a length of 17 centimeters and a width of x minus 5 centimeters. So if you need to draw this, we have 17 centimeters for a length, width of x minus 5 centimeters. So to find our perimeter, we can add 17 plus x minus 5 plus x minus 5. And then we combine our like terms. So we have two x's, so we've got 2x. And we've got 17 plus 17 minus 5 minus 5, which gets us a positive 24. Centimeters. Okay, so that is our answer. There is an x in our answer because there was an x in the problem that we're not able to solve for. And then we need to find the area of the rectangle. So length times width, so 17 times x minus 5. Remember that we have to distribute anything that's outside the parentheses. So 17 times x minus 17 times 5, which is 85 centimeters squared. Then we have a triangle on our next one. We need to find our perimeter. So we need to add up all of our sides. So 4x plus 8 plus x plus 1, because 6 is not a side. And we combine our like terms, and that gets us 5x plus 9 units. And then our formula for area is base times height. So remember, our base and our height both have to have our right angle with it. So we have 6 times x plus 1 divided by 2. Make sure you're distributing 6x plus 6 divided by 2. And then we can divide by 2. And that gets us 3x plus 3 units squared. And our last one on the notes, the Texas Treasures quilt block includes 24 purple triangles. The base and height of each triangle are about 3 inches. Find the approximate amount of fabric used to make the 24 triangles. Okay, so we are looking at how many triangles. We're looking at 24 triangles and trying to figure out how much fabric it would take to make those triangles. So we know that each triangle has a base and height of 3 inches. So we're going to find the area of one triangle. So our base times our height, 3 times 3, divided by 2, gets us 4.5. But that's only for one triangle. We need the area of 24 triangles. So we're going to take this 4.5 and multiply it by 24 to get our total area. And that gets us 108 inches squared.